Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be talking about data types and variables in JavaScript. Let's get started. So the first thing that we want to talk about is about programming, okay? Programming itself is always about manipulating data. But let's kind of give an idea of what data actually is. Data is information that we're going to store in our computers and we're going to want to potentially reuse it later on. So, for example, we want to maybe save our employees' names as well as their ages, and maybe how much stock they've sold recently, okay? And again, we want to be able to save all of this data in some way, shape, or form. So today we're going to be pulling up about:blank on our Chrome web browser, and I'm going to go on and open up the console window. And I open this up with Command-Option-I on the Mac, and so that we can just pull this up, or you can go on and right-click, inspect, and then hit the console. Okay, and as I said in the previous video, we're going to just be using the console window for the first couple videos just to get some quick introduction and to have an interactive console for us to play with. And later on, we'll start using scripts and using other types of ways to code, probably with VS Code. So first off, let's just talk about JavaScript. It has three different types of data types. Three types. My fingers aren't wanting to work today. And these are numbers, strings, and Booleans. Okay, and we'll talk about each of these in turn. So first off, a number, okay? So we have something like 5, okay? 8 or 9, 4.5, something like that, okay? Strings, we use parentheses, okay? Or not parentheses, but quotation marks, okay? And so we can say, so here is a string. Then we also have Booleans, okay? And Booleans are true or false. And again, these are lowercase in JavaScript. So next, let's kind of go on and just talk about numbers themselves. Okay, so numbers and their operators. So JavaScript lets us perform basic mathematical operations, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now, to make these calculations, we are going to be using a couple symbols. We'll be using the plus sign, the minus sign, the multiplication sign, and the division sign. And we also have, for example, exponents, which is the double. And we also will have something like the floor division as well as the mod operator as well. And we'll talk about these in turn later on. But for today, we're going to be just talking about the basic elements that we want. So first off, let's just use this as a using JavaScript as a basic calculator. So we just grab maybe 1, 2, 3 plus 3, 4, 5. And notice here that we can use it as a basic calculator to get 468. We can also add in multiple numbers. So 12 plus 23 plus 34 gives us 69. We can also use it for subtraction. So let me just grab 1, 2, 3 minus 3, 4, 5, and again we get negative 222. We can use it for our multiplication. So something like 3 multiplied by 6 gives us 18. We can also use it for division, and so something like 1, 2, 3 divided by 3, 4, 5 gives us a decimal. Now we can also do something like combining multiple operations. Now it does calculate based on order of operations, okay? So we can do something like 1, 2, 3 plus 2, 3, 4 multiplied by 2 minus 45 divided by 4, okay? Now what this is going to do, it's going to do our multiplication first, okay? Then it's going to make sure and do our division, all right? Then it will go through and do our addition, and then it will go through and do the subtraction. Okay, so then that'll give us our actual answer. Now again, it does order it, so let me just type that out for us, okay? Our order of operations are multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay? So that's one thing that we need to look at, and we also need to understand that it will also follow through with making sure that we go through and it'll use parentheses as well, okay? So parentheses are going to be what's calculated first. So something like 8 divided by 1 plus 3 is 11. However, 8 divided by 1 plus 3 is going to be 2. Okay, so it does take a lot of thought, okay, into whenever you're typing this out. Make sure that you don't make some basic arithmetic mistakes. Math is going to always kind of come back to bite us if we don't know it. So remember, pay attention to your math instructors. So next thing that we're going to talk about is making basic variables, okay, and how we can use those. So variables, we use the var method, and we're going to be using predominantly var probably in the class, but we'll also be using let and const when we get later on in the class. But for now, var is to help us create a variable. So we can name it, put in name, okay, and in here we can also do something like, again, this is empty, but if we want to do something like var age here, and I want to put in something like 30, I can. And what variables actually are? Var here itself is a keyword, okay, that has a special meaning in JavaScript. As you can tell here, it'll highlight itself in purple here. And again, in this case, var, JavaScript knows that we're going to enter the name of a variable next. Okay, and again, then we can also assign that variable some value, okay, using the equal sign. All right. So the next thing that we want to talk about, and again, we would call this here, in this instance, we call this the assignment operator. Okay, it's not the equal sign, it's the assignment operator. So we can always call that information back. Okay, so here, notice now age is 30. And let's just say that, oh, I made a mistake. Maybe it's actually supposed to be 34. So now, since I've already created that variable, it is not set in stone, okay? I can overwrite it. So I can do something like age is equal to 34. And now, whenever I look at age, it comes up as 34. So that is very useful to us. Now, we can also go through and use these for math, okay? So, and use them as variables like we would in mathematics. So something like, maybe we have number of employees. Okay, and let's say that I have 10 employees, and let's say var number of donuts. Okay, and maybe I have 2 donuts. So then I can do something like maybe how many donuts do people get each? So number of donuts divided by the number of employees. Whoops, other way around, sorry. And I want to cut that and do number of employees. No, let's do something else. I want to actually cut this and we can do that the right way. So I'm going to change this to number of donuts is what we buy them in packs of 24. Okay, and so let's do number of donuts divided by the number of employees. So everyone gets 2.4 donuts. So then we can also do something if we want to, for example, if let's say that we didn't define, so maybe instead of donuts, I did donut, okay? And I run this, notice here, it caught a reference error, okay? Because donut does not exist. So if you have not referenced and you haven't created some variable, it's going to give you an error. Now another thing that we can do is here, look, we have number of donuts divided by number of employees. And again, here I'm using, this is called camel case. Okay, now what if I did something like number of donuts divided by our number of employees? Notice here, again, it's telling us that this variable does not exist, even though it's num of donuts, just as our other one was num of donuts. JavaScript is case sensitive. Okay, so that means that if we have an uppercase and a lowercase, they're not going to be the same thing. So again, we saw that we can do this with math. Now let's talk about using these with increments and decrements. So let's say something like var number of sales, okay? And I'm going to set that equal to 0. And so we are on, let's say we're on a sales team, and we want to be able to say how many, if someone has so many sales, okay, or maybe for the whole team we have so many sales. So we can use the plus plus and do something like our number of sales. And notice this output is going to be 1, okay, and this is increasing our 1, and this is called incrementing. Now if we want to decrease, we can do minus minus number of sales, and this will decrease our value, okay? Now when we use this plus plus operator, the value of number of sales goes up, okay? And I can do it a couple times here. And then, so now we can actually clear this and we can look at number of sales. And we see here that now there are 4 sales. Again, I hit that increment 4 times. Now, if there's a difference, okay? If you can use this, notice I've had this increment before, okay? Now you can also use it after. And it does something different, okay? So here's plus plus. Now, it technically does the same thing. It adds things, but the return value is going to be different. So let me clear this out and let me do number of sales here. I'm going to set it back to 0. And so notice 0 comes out. If I do plus plus number of sales, 1 comes out, okay? Remember, this is before. Now, if I reset this, okay, now notice again, number of sales is going to be 0. So if I do number of sales plus plus, and I run this, it's going to be 0, because if I have the increment, this incrementation after, it's going to show the number it was previously, okay? And so this is very useful for us whenever we want our output to be slightly different. Now, another thing that we can do is we can use the plus equals and the minus equals, okay? We can also use these with multiply, equal, divide, equal, okay? And these are going to allow us to do quick increases and changing of a variable by a certain amount. So if we do something like var x is equal to 10 here, and I want to add 10 to this, okay? So now normally you would say x is equal to x plus 10, okay? That's going to give us our x is equal to 20, okay? Now the thing is that if I wanted to go on, and again here, x here is going to be 20, I can also do something like plus equals 5. And this is going to give us 25, okay? Changing it. So then notice here, you can use this plus equal sign to add something, and this is equivalent to x is equal to x plus 5. Okay, so again, we have this shorthand notation. Now we can also do that again, something like x minus equals, and let's set it to 10 again. So 15, so now it's equal to 10. So again, this minus equals is going to run, all right, and again, this would be the same as x is equal to x minus 15. All right, so next up, let's go on and use strings. Okay, so strings again are something like, again, here's a string here. Now we can also do this as being able to do something like var my string, and here is another string. Okay, and we can save that in. We can also grab it out. Now we can also do things such as, let's say, something like, clear this and do something like var is equal to 5. Var my item is equal to 5, And then I can now do my item is equal to a string, and I can overwrite that string or that number with a string. Okay, they're not going to be dependent upon whether you've assigned it initially as an integer or you assigned it as a string. It's not going to matter. It's just a container. Okay, it's just a JavaScript object for us to manipulate. Now another thing that we can do is we can look at let's go on and go to some joining some strings. So one thing that we can do is we can use the plus sign to concat string. So hello plus Markham. And notice here our output's going to be hello Markham. We can also do this with some sort of greeting. So var is greeting is going to be hello, and then var name here is going to be Markham. And then you can do the same thing as greeting plus name, and this will also give us our hello Markham. So again, you can use these in a great deal of usefulness. Okay, whenever we're creating variables, we're going to be creating up later on. We're going to be auto-filling paragraphs with analyses and whatnot, and this is going to be very useful to us. Now we can also grab the length. So for example, I can do this name dot length, and this will give me how long my name is. Okay, so again, we can do any type of string that way. So I can just put in a bunch of nonsense here in dot length, and this will say that I typed in 28 characters in here. So the next thing that we may want to talk about, okay, is, so I had my name here, and let's say that we want to grab the first item. Okay, so the first character, that's going to be M. Now if I wanted to grab in the second character, that'd be 1. Again, we have this starting, our indexing is starting at 0, and it's going all the way up to the length of whatever our item is. So then we can always go through and we can slice and dice things however we want to. And let's actually talk about how we would do that. So if we want to cut up a string, and let me do something like, let me just say a string here. I can do dot slice. And then if I want to start at 1 and I want to go all the way up to 5, this will grab stir. So again, notice there's a space here. There's a space here, and then so 0 is A, space is 1, so I'm grabbing 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go up to but not including 5, which is I. Okay, so that gets space stir. Now we can do something else. We can do something like long string here, and I'm just going to have it so that it's visible, and do something like slide. You know what? No, let's actually make a variable here. Var long string here. My long string is long. Okay. And then if we want to grab, maybe we just want to grab long string in here. So 0, 1, 2, this is 3. Okay, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the space here is 14. So we'll go up to but not including 14. So long string dot slice, we're going to start at 3, we want to go up to 14, and that gets us long string. So again, we can slice up our characters however we like. Now a couple other things that we can do, and I'll be using this long string again. We can do dot to uppercase, and this will put everything in all uppercase. We can also do long string here and dot to lowercase. I notice it'll put everything as lowercase. Now let's go on and talk about our Booleans. So as we said before, Booleans mean true and false. Okay, so again, we can use logical operators with these, but again, they're going to work a little bit differently. The ones that we are very interested in is going to be 2 ampersands in here for and. All right, then we're going to have 2 pipes for or, And then we're going to also go in and we're going to talk about the not operator. So these are the ones that we're going to be talking about. And again, we are going to be using these a lot throughout the series, so make sure that you kind of get a bit of an understanding about what's going on with them. So first, let's talk about the AND operator. So again, the two ampersands here are going to be used again with two values. So if we have something like true and true, that's going to give us true. But if we have something like true and false, that's going to give us false. Okay, and again, so this is basic Boolean algebra stuff that we can use a lot. Now we can also use the OR operator. So true or true is going to give us true. True or false is also going to give us true. But if we want false, it'll have to be false or false. And again, we can save these inside of a variable as well, but again, right now I'm just going to give you guys kind of the basic idea of this. Then the next thing that we're going to talk about is the not operator. Now what happens is this is basically going to kind of flip the signal. Okay, we can also we use the bang or the exclamation point for this. So if I do bang false, it's going to give us true. If I do bang true, it's going to give us false. So it switches whatever it is. So you can think about this as not true, which would be false. And not false is going to be true. So we can combine a lot of operators, okay? And we can do some very fantastic things. So let's kind of combine the logic operators. And let's make something like whether I go to work or not, okay? Or whether I'm ready to go to work or not. So var is weekend is going to be false. Var had a shower is going to be true. And var has toast is going to be false. And var has fruit is equal to true. Okay, so what this is going to allow us to do then is say something like var should, well, let's just say go to work. Okay, so if it's not is a weekend, okay, and I've had a shower, and I have fruit, so I has fruit, or I have toast. Okay, so then this will tell me whether or not I should go to work. So if I run this and I say go to work, it's going to say true, I should definitely go to work. Why is this? Well, it is not a weekend, I've had my shower, and I at least have some sort of food for breakfast. Okay, and so then that means that yes, I should definitely go to work. And so again, you can have these conditional arguments whenever you want. Now, one of the more important things that we'll wind up doing is using and comparing numbers so that we can get our Booleans. So for example, did someone meet the sales quota? Okay, so var, and let's say sales quota here is going to be 10. They had to have 10 sales maybe every week or something. And so var, and let's call this Sam, and he only had 7. So we can say something like Sam greater than our sales quota is false. Now let's say we had Amber here. Amber is equal to 11. So again, Amber is greater than the sales quota is going to give us true. So you can use this in, again, any sort of way that you want to with this greater than. You can also say something like maybe you have, maybe it's actually supposed to be greater than or equal to, you need at least up to that quota, not greater than that quota. Okay, so then let's have something like Bob. Here is going to have 10. Well, then we can, Bon. Okay, sure, Bon. So Bon is greater than or equal to the sales quota is going to be true. And again, we can change this to something like Amber is still going to be true, but if we change it to Sam, it's going to be false. We can also do these for something like less than. So maybe instead of a sales quota, it's a, I don't know, maybe you're a professor and it's a tardy list. Okay, so you can only be tardy twice a semester, missed absences or something. Okay, well, Sam had, I believe, had 7. So then if it is if it's greater than or equal to tardy, then he's going to get some sort of penalty. It's true. Now we have, let's say, var Beth, and she has 0. Okay, so Beth here is greater than or equal to tardy is false. Okay, we can also use the less than restriction. So here we can turn all of this around. Okay, so we can do something like Sam is less than or equal to tardy is false, and then we can do, I think it was Beth is less than or equal to tardy, and that's true. Okay, so they are below or equal to that tardy cutoff. Now we have a special thing that kind of goes on with JavaScript, okay, and that's when we're checking for equivalence. So using the equal to. Now, most languages is equal, but we also have here a triple equal. Okay, now they have 2 different meanings in this. Okay, oh well, also technically, we want to get technical with it. We also have the assignment operator, which is a single equal sign. But what happens here? Okay, a triple equal sign is, are these 2 numbers equal? But it's also more along the lines of, are they exactly equal? Okay, so we can do something like this, and this is where kind of some people it gets a little crazy for them. So let's say I have 5 is equal to 5. Whoa, okay. The integer 5 is equal to the string 5. However, if I want strict equality here, I can do 5 triple equal to 5, and that's going to give me false. So be very careful when and how you use these checks for equivalence, okay? If you want to check strictly, then, for example, again, the type matters, then definitely use your triple equal sign. If you are trying your best to just check whether they're the same value, again, maybe you have someone putting input and it's actually going to be a string and you don't want to have to do any type of conversion, then you can do this as well. But again, be very, very careful about how you utilize these. The next thing that we want to really talk about is undefined and null. So if I do something like var sum var and I hit enter, this is just going to be undefined. It hasn't pointed towards anything. Okay, and I haven't assigned anything to it. Okay, now I can do something like var my null value here, and I can do null. And this actually, again, this actually will represent nothing. Okay, null represents nothing. It is an empty set. Okay, now if I want to go back and I do something like, what was the other one that I had in there? Was sum var. Notice here it's undefined because I haven't assigned any pointer to it. Okay, I haven't used this assignment operator yet on it, so it's still just undefined. It's waiting for us to do something. So today what we've kind of done is we've gone through the basic data types in JavaScript. And those are numbers, strings, and Booleans, as well as we've talked about the special values of null and undefined. Again, numbers are used for math type things, strings are used for text, Booleans are used for yes and no questions, and the values null and undefined are there to give us a way to talk about things that don't exist. And then the next time we're going to be talking about arrays and objects in JavaScript, which are going to be used in joining the basic types to create more complex collections of values. So I hope you guys like this. Please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.